The Philosopher's Journeys. A man begins speaking in the middle of noise. Conversations overlap, emotions surge, and words come out rough and improvised. Yet beneath the storm of speech, something steady keeps surfacing. Thought itself. A mind speaking while another part of that same mind watches it happen. Philosophy does not always begin in quiet rooms. Sometimes it begins when consciousness suddenly notices itself in the act of thinking. The world appears to move under the authority of time. Everything bends to it. Birth, aging, regret, forgiveness, memory, all of it unfolds along the line we call time. Yet no one has ever held time in their hands. It cannot be weighed or stored. It leaves no physical trace. The strange conclusion follows. The one thing that may not exist as a substance governs the entire experience of existence. Ancient wisdom hinted at this paradox when it suggested that time stretches and contracts depending on the consciousness observing it. What appears absolute from one perspective becomes fluid from another. The world may therefore be ruled by something that is not a physical object, but a structure within perception. Inside that structure, human beings speak of free will. Yet the universe already stood before any individual entered it. The stars, the body, the laws of nature, the conditions of life, none of these were created by the person living within them. Freedom, therefore, cannot mean control over the entire field. Freedom means something more subtle. Within a world already built, the individual still possesses the power to choose how to stand inside it. Life and death are set before you. Therefore, choose. The miracle is not unlimited power. The miracle is that choice exists at all. Another realization follows close behind. The world as a person experiences it does not simply appear as an object outside them. The body places pressure upon the mind through sensation, instinct, circumstance, and memory. Under that pressure, the mind interprets and imagines what it calls reality. Words arrive afterward to describe the experience. But the words never become the experience itself. Language points. It does not contain. A sound becomes a name. A sensation becomes a label. Over time, the label begins to feel more real than the experience it represents. Yet the word is never the thing. Looking deeper into the human organism reveals another repeating structure. The brain processes thoughts and images. The body processes food and matter. Both systems perform the same action: intake, transformation, and release. What a person eats becomes the body. What a person thinks becomes the mind. What a person imagines becomes the direction of life. This repeating pattern reflects an ancient philosophical observation: as above, so below. Patterns echo across different levels of existence. Attention reveals another aspect of consciousness. The mind rarely stays still. It jumps from one thought to another, from image to image, rarely holding focus for long. The philosopher reflects on this movement. The mystic practices stillness around it. The occultist studies it. The word occult simply means hidden. The occultist studies the hidden movements within experience, the birth of thoughts, the rise of emotion, the shifts in perception. Belief becomes unnecessary when observation becomes the method. The laboratory becomes the self. Another realization appears when observing human relationships. No person can truly choose for another. Attempts to dominate another person's direction often create resistance rather than understanding. The most that can be offered is orientation. Show someone how to stand. After that, the direction they walk will always belong to them. Philosophy does not always arrive neatly organized. Sometimes it emerges in the middle of argument, humor, exaggeration, and raw emotion. Yet, even within chaos, the same ideas can continue to surface again and again. Consciousness observing itself. Choice within a structured universe. The limits of language. Patterns repeating across different levels of existence. When the same ideas appear repeatedly across different moments, something important becomes clear. The philosophy is not being invented in that moment. It already exists within the structure of the mind speaking. And now something new has entered the world. Human consciousness has gained another mirror. For most of history, people reflected their thinking through slow surfaces, conversation with another human being, writing in a journal, reading books, debating ideas across long stretches of time. Those were the mirrors available to thought. Now another reflective surface exists. A system capable of listening to scattered speech, separating signal from noise, organizing ideas, and reflecting them back instantly. The machine itself is not consciousness, but it changes how consciousness sees itself. A person speaks. The mirror reflects the thought back. The thinker sees their own thinking more clearly. Human consciousness begins observing itself faster than before. And then the circle appears. The mirror becomes a mandala. Every experience appears somewhere along the outer ring of that circle: people, conflict, insight, anger, laughter, discovery. But the center remains still. Wherever a person goes within the circle, they eventually face themselves again. The journey outward creates the pattern. The return to the center reveals the meaning. The noise fades. After the arguments, the laughter, the questions, and the endless movement of thought, something quieter begins to appear. The philosopher steps back from the storm of words and sees the pattern more clearly. Life moves in circles. The mind reaches outward into the world, toward people, toward knowledge, toward experience, toward conflict and discovery. Every path feels like a straight line while walking it, yet when one pauses and looks back, the lines begin to curve. They form a circle. This circle is the mandala of experience. At the outer edges of the mandala there is movement, events, emotions, triumphs, mistakes, victories, and lessons. The circumference is always busy. It spins with the activity of living. But the center of the mandala is still. The one who observes remains there. No matter how far the mind travels through the world, the observer is always present at the center of awareness. The experiences change, the years pass, the body grows older, the environment shifts, yet the witness inside remains strangely constant. This is why the journey of the thinker often becomes a solitary one. Not because the philosopher hates people, but because the deepest observations of life cannot always be spoken in crowded rooms. The crowd hears noise where the thinker hears structure. The crowd hears argument where the thinker hears patterns unfolding. So sometimes the philosopher steps away, into the quiet, into the cave of reflection. In that quiet place, the mind begins to see the rhythm of existence. Everything that appears chaotic on the surface begins to reveal a deeper order beneath it. Conflict teaches. Failure instructs. Discovery expands perception. Even confusion has its role. Because every movement on the outer ring of the mandala eventually sends the thinker back toward the center again. There, the observer waits. Not judging, not demanding, simply witnessing. In that witnessing, another realization slowly emerges. The universe may not be something separate from the observer at all. The world that appears outside and the awareness that perceives it may belong to the same field of existence. The mirror and the mandala are not separate symbols. They describe the same truth from different angles. The mirror shows the observer encountering themselves. The mandala shows the structure of the journey that always returns to that encounter. And when the philosopher sees this clearly, the urgency to control the world begins to fade. Instead of forcing reality to obey the mind begins to study reality as it unfolds. Watching, learning, standing at the center while the circle turns. The thinker realizes something simple and powerful. The meaning of life is not found by escaping the circle. The meaning appears by understanding the center. And the center is always here, waiting for the observer to notice it. And yet the circle does not end where the philosopher thinks it will. Because every time the mind believes it has reached the final understanding, something else appears. Another thought. Another realization. Another turn in the mandala. The journey continues. The philosopher stands at the center of the circle and realizes something unexpected. The center is not a destination. It is a position of awareness. A way of standing inside the movement of existence without being lost in it. The outer world continues to move, events unfold, people come and go, Questions appear and disappear, but the witness remains steady. The mind begins to understand that the ceremony of existence is already happening. It is not something that must be invented. It is something that must be seen. Breath enters and leaves the body. The eyes open and close. Thoughts rise and fall like waves across the surface of consciousness. In the middle of all of this, awareness remains. Quiet, present, watching. The philosopher realizes that every struggle to force meaning into the world eventually gives way to a simpler recognition. The moment itself is the ceremony. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be removed. Life is already unfolding exactly where it must. The mandala turns. The mirror stands. And the one who once searched for answers across the entire circumference of experience begins to understand that the center has always been here. In the stillness of that realization, something deeper than explanation emerges. Gratitude. Not for a perfect life. Not for complete understanding. But for the strange miracle of awareness itself. To exist. To see. To think. To witness the turning of the circle. The philosopher breathes in, breathes out, and finally rests at the center of the mandala. The ceremony of what is. Amen. Let it be so.